Of course, beautiful afternoon to you viewers. And this is, of course, the Indo-Africa Cup here at the Dome in Swakopmund, Namibia versus South Africa. Of course, fighting for the first and the second position. And of course, here the winner will, of course, be crowned. Of course, that is South Africa versus Namibia here at the Dome in Swakopmund. My name is Enzo Amwele, and of course, we are bringing this live to you from the Dome in Swakopmund. The teams, of course, Namibia and South Africa have both qualified to go for the Indoor World Cup in Croatia. That is next year. Of course, let's look at the team sheet of Namibia. We have Stoffberg, Petro there in the goal, and Philander, Azali, Ludwig Sandal, Komek, and Landsberg. And we have Kruger there, Kruger Ivanka, Bartlett Jerica, Henkel Jamie, and Hermanus Gillian, Kruger Jantua, and of course Dirksen, Ember, Higgs, Anika. That is Namibian squad. Of course, Indo-Africa Cup here at the Dome in Swakopmund. South Africa, we have Southgate Jamie, Dan Barker, Fori Krian, and Fori Tigan, the two sisters. Hamza Malika, very dangerous on the ground. Lardan, Jessica, Bressett, Lycan, Swanepoel, Shaliza, brilliant goalkeeper, Paget Sarah, and then Moabi Bonolo, David Leila, and Porter Elizabeth. That is, of course, your South African squad. That is, of course, the Indo-Africa Cup here in Swakopmund at the Dome. For those of you that are home in Swakopmund, make sure you make your way at the Dome to come watch, of course, this world-class hockey.
Please be upstanding for the national anthems of South Africa and Namibia. South Africa's national anthem first.
the land of the brave. But before we get into the match, let's take a look at interviews that we did with both head coaches of these teams.
Joined by Shane, the head coach of the Namibian women's team. Shane, like you said, we have qualified for the World Cup next year in Croatia. Just tell us the excitement around that and another chance to represent at an international level.
Yes, we're very excited. We set out, that was our objective from September. We said this is the one we wanted. So yeah, we're very happy that we've qualified. It's nice to be able to go into a final and be able to try a few things and really go out and enjoy the final. And good luck to South Africa and Zimbabwe today. The best team win today, and join us, and let's do it for Africa and Croatia.
Okay, well, looking at the games that we did have, we still do have an Indo Africa Cup final to play. And we did play South Africa already drawing 1-1. Looking into the finals that we still do have to play, what are your thoughts on that?
Look, it was a good game yesterday. I think a bit of Jekyll and Hyde. The goalies were amazing. Both South Africa and our goalie was amazing. Came down to us putting away our short corners or them putting away their short corners. So we're obviously going to do a little bit of homework today. Try and make it an interesting one for the crowd tomorrow and really make it a great game for Africa hockey.
Okay, speaking of the crowd, before I do let you leave, like we said, we qualified for the World Cup next year. For the viewers and for the spectators that have been watching from home, what do you have to say to them?
Well, last night it was just incredible, the atmosphere when the boys were down and they started coming back. Just their first goal, it was just insane how this crowd erupted.
And we're underway here at the MTC Dome. It is Spa, South Africa versus Namibia. A renewal of rivalries old. Two teams who know each other better than most people know their wives or their husbands' passports on their cell phone. They've played many, many times. And both teams have had their highs. Both teams have had their lows today. One will laugh louder than the other. Tegan Fourie looking for an early opportunity. Driving inside, but it's well defended by Sunil Ludwig on her 50th cap. It is an absolute pleasure to be able to take you through another Indo-Africa Cup final. And my name is Tyrant Barnard, and I am joined by the energetic, the charismatic, the man who needs no introduction, but I'll give him one all the same. It is Enzo, the main man from NTV.
Thank you, Tyrant, for that brilliant introduction. Of course, we are at the Indo-Africa Cup finals, and it is Namibia versus South Africa. Of course, Tyrant, both teams do know each other very well.
Brilliant turnover from Jivanka Kruger in the middle of the park, but she loses it on this occasion to Leila Davids, who drives up the line. She's got the angle! She gets an angled shot. Petro Stoppen makes the save. It's maybe one she would expect to save, but it's one she still had to make. And it's the first punch, not a deadly one, but is landed by South Africa in these early exchanges.
Of course, Tyrant, that was definitely an opportunity for South Africa. Right there, it was a very, very close call. Okay, the ball is with Ludwig. Gives it to Gillian Hermanes. Back to Ludwig.
A reminder, these two teams played the last two finals, both times Namibia coming out on top. In 2017, a 3-3 draw, Namibia winning a shootout. And in 2021, at Thomas More College, Namibia 2-0 winners over South Africa to claim the title. Who will come out today? Here's Malika Hamza, well stolen by Gillian Hermanes. She will hope to inspire the crowd. Laken Brissett not put off by the crazy marauding run of Kiana Cormack, and just eats it up and makes the tackle well. I tell you what, every time Namibia go forward, this crowd lifts the roof. South Africa will know that they've got a challenge with a seventh player on the park in this crowd. Malika Hamza very much central to all things South Africa so far.
Ballers with Hermanes Gillian. Of course, she is looking to take it forward. And the ball is with South Africa. One of the four resistors there. We have the ball is with Brissett. Lycan. Back to Brissett again. Looking to go forward. That is
Johnson, it's a goal for South Africa. It's Leila Davids who does the work down the left-hand side. She fires it across, and Tegan Fourie, open in the middle, taps it into an empty net. And South Africa lead with their second chance of the game. They settled slightly better, and that will silence the crowd somewhat. South Africa 1, Namibia 0.
Of course, Darren, early goals like this in the first quarter, of course, breaks down the morale of the opponent. And of course, that's not what Namibia wants. They need to keep up the pace. They need to get back into this game. Of course, South Africa takes the first lead. And I don't think they need to let Namibia into their circle, because, of course, Namibia will be fighting to, of course, level up. South Africa again with another chance.
Jess Laudent with a great run down the side, opening up some space, and, of course, firing it in, but not with enough power. The shot lacked venom. It's almost like if you find a snake in the forest, you hope that it's not a green mamba, black mamba, or boomslang. That was just a garden snake. Well, the snake bite that has been landed so far was landed by Tegan Fourie.
The ball is with Ludwig right there, getting a clear start, giving it to Kilian Hermanus. Hermanus, of course, taking it to the front there. The ball is back with South Africa, and that is with Jessica.
Tegan Fourie scoring her 71st international goal in 71 appearances.
Of course, a brilliant performance by Tegan there, Darren. I need to agree on that one. The ball is back with Namibia. That is, of course, Ludwig and Hermanus. Brilliant pass with Bartlett. Bartlett is battling out with the two South Africans right there. Of course, Ludwig looks to take it to the front. Back to Hermanus Gillian. Of course, that is Namibia's captain. A very, very talented player. What a brilliant interception. Ball is with Ludwig.
It's a free hit just outside the circle for Namibia. So now Ludwig, 50th cap, receiving flowers from her mother before the game. Had to give them back, obviously, can't play with them. And Namibia looking for the run there of Jivanka Kruger. Jerry Bartlett is on the park right now, as the crowd continues to pour in, continues to fill, continues to rein in. It's South Africa who lead by a goal to 0. South African men busy preparing for their game against Namibia later today. They will be deciding the final there, 5 o'clock local time. Jamie Southgate, the South African captain, plays it up. Kaylin Mbaka looks for the stick, finds the stick, it lifts, and it's penalty corner for the South Africans, who have settled into this final far better so far than the Namibians.
Of course, Darren, I am agreeing with you on that one. And of course, this is one of those opportunities that South Africa usually capitalizes on. Judging from the previous matches here at the Dome in Swakopmund, South Africa would use these chances and, of course, score. Let's see what comes from this one.
Tegan Fourie puts it in. It's a slightly early break there. Jerica Bartlett will run off. Just stepping off the line early. South Africa will push again in. Tegan Fourie with the injection. And there's another early break. This time it's Petra Stoffberg, the keeper. So Zaylee Philander goes. South Africa have the numbers.
Tegan Fourie.
Dembaka, Lauren, what a goal! That had venom and power. That was the green mamba into the top left-hand corner. Incredible finish, instinctive. Well, South Africa said they were poor from the penalty corners in the last time. That's a brilliant way to answer any critics there. And the challenge has been laid down for the Namibians. 2017, they trailed 3-1 in this venue and they went to win it. They will want to get the next goal in this game, though, because it's a monumental challenge.
Of course, Namibia, the question remains, will Namibia be able to come to the party? Of course, South Africa definitely there, putting a good show right there. And of course, The dome is filled up with brilliant spectators here, screaming and chanting to the players. Of course, South Africa has this one in control. We have less than 3 minutes for the first quarter at the Indo-Africa Cup final, and it is Namibia versus South Africa.
It's gone out for a 16. It came, last touch came off of Tegan Foury's stick. Well, again, as we have said, it is the South Africans who have settled quicker in this game. Namibia looking for a moment of magic. Lizzie Porter there, able to stop Jonta Kruger, who drove forward, and she will lift this, and it'll go for a free hit for the South Africans. Well, they'll take the long corner. Advantage has been played. Lizzie Porter loses the ball, and we just see the sting go out of the game a little bit while she fetches it. But, yeah, for me, Enzo, it's the South Africans who have settled better here. They look very dangerous going forward, and Namibia are just forcing their opportunities a little. As they broke there, Kruger should have looked inside for the 1-2, but she tried to go on the outside, and that allowed Porter to steal in and make the tackle.
Of course, Darren, the South Africans are really, really dangerous on this one. And of course, I do agree with you when you said, of course, it is the Green Mamba that just struck into the left corner there when they scored. And of course, South Africa very comfortable right now. Of course, they are leading in the final here at the Dome in Swakopmund. Of course, Bonolo with the chance there. Of course, umpire there calls it off. Namibia gets a start with Kruger. Looking for, of course, Bartlett there.
Yeah, once again there, just on the attack. It's a little bit frenetic from the Namibians trying to force it. And Sarah Paget makes another good save. And that will be a warning for Kerrion Foury for danger there into a set player. But as I was saying, Enzo, it's just as Namibia go forward, it's just a little bit too frenetic, lacking a little bit of that structure and style that they've done. That's a better. Sarah Paget, though, up to the challenge. And now South Africa break. Malika Hamza, one-on-one with Kiana Cormack. She had the overlap. She goes alone and lifts it up and loses the ball. And that brings us to the end of the first quarter. South Africa 2, Namibia 0. We'll be back with you after this advert break.
Spice up your day with GoTV. Abner and Amanda share their love for food and family as they cook up a storm of fun and flavor.
That looks perfect.
Then, from delicious dishes to wedding wishes, as newly engaged couples navigate the maze of wedding budgets.
You guys have any idea on the budget yet?
And for a dose of intergalactic fun, join a quirky vlogger and her alien buddy on their daily adventures.
What a day. I'm exhausted.
It's all happening on your go-to place. GoTV. Love it.
More than a retailer, we bring sport.
Welcome back, viewers. Of course, for those of you that are joining, this is the Indo-Africa Cup final between Namibia and South Africa. These two sister countries are definitely battling it out here at the Dome in Swakopmund. Ball is with back to Porter Elizabeth. There we go. South Africa is still trying to get more goals with this one, and they are already leading comfortably, and they need to be very, very technical now because, of course, Namibia can come back.
Yeah, you just feel, if you look at the history of games between these two teams, if South Africa get another, could it be a step almost too far? Yes, it's still a long way to go. And that is a good tackle, borderline, but good. And Namibia have a chance to break. Kiana Cormack sets up Jerry Bartlett. And that will be a penalty corner. Jess Larden's ruled to be on 3 points outside the circle and interfering with play, directly stopping a counter-attack. And it's penalty corner number 1 for the Namibians.
Of course, Namibia stands a chance here. And of course, if they do execute here, of course, it will be 2-1. And of course, it is it is indeed a great opportunity for Namibia, and Bartlett is taking that one. Let's see what Namibia makes from this one. Of course, the likes of Ludwig Komek are waiting anxiously for that one to take a chance. There we go! Brilliant save from South Africa.
Lizzie Porter on the line, making the save. Namibia maybe catching South Africa slightly by surprise in changing the channels. Instead of Kiana Komek having the shot, slipping it to Sunal Ludwig, and she has the shot, beats the keeper, but doesn't beat Porter on the line. South Africa maintain a 2-goal lead here. There is Porter, the hero for the moment. And of course the free it was given as the outlet was pointed, but blocked. But here goes Namibia again. Azali Falando! She fires it just wide. There is life in the beast yet. The dragon, the engine, is starting to roar, and South Africa will look to silence it as soon as possible. That lady pointing to the goosebumps that she's getting, because that's exactly what this game does to you. Goosebump-inducing moments.
Of course, Tyron, it is indeed a tougher match here. And of course, both teams are having experienced the players, and they've met on many, many occasions. Of course, they know each other very, very well. Namibia is still trying their best to come to the front of this one. They are still attacking. Of course, the ball is with Gillian Hermanes there. Hermanes looking to bring it back and take it to the front. Of course, that is Sonal Ludwig. Back to Hermanes. Back to Ludwig.
Well, that's that chance for Namibia is exactly what they would have wanted. Just to, again, get the crowd going again. Get the noise in the place. Lad! Well, South Africa play advantage. Some players stop because the ball had hit the foot. Claire Cowan doesn't blow a whistle, says play advantage. And the shot from Tegan Fourie is saved. Luckily, Petro Stockberg hadn't stopped playing. Moabi Fourie tackled by Cormac. Azali Falando drives. She's alone, and that's going to be a short corner. And it's going to be a green card for Manala Moabi. I think she tried to pull out of the challenge, but in doing that, actually pulled the trip. She saw she was out of place, and this is the chance for Namibia. They've got a player advantage. They've got a penalty corner.
Of course, it is a chance for Namibia. Bartlett taking it there again. And South Africa gets a green card for that foul. And of course, let's see what the likes of Sunal, Ludwig, Komek, Kruger, let's see what they make of this one. Of course,
chance fired in, and it is wide from Philander. It's 0 from 2. Namibia need to get that radar sorted as soon as possible. But South Africa get away with that one. They still have a minute with a player short.
of course, indeed, an opportunity for Namibia to capitalize on this one. Namibia with a chance, and let's go with Komek. Sanel Ludwig blocks that one. Brilliant, brilliant stop from Ludwig. Back with Hermanes Gillian. There we go, Komek.
Brilliant tackle from Kaylin Den Bakker on that occasion. Kiana Cormac, who's so dangerous when she goes up the line. Den Bakker said, no, not today. She cuts inside, finds Laken Brissett. She's isolated. Gillian Hermanes and Sunel Ludwig work together to do it. This game is very back to front. Kiana Cormac being released, but she's alone. She'll have to go back through Hermanes. Switches it to the side. Ball is missed. Brissett breaks. Shows too much of the ball, but gets it through. Layla Davids has a chance. Layla Davids has a goal. It's an unforced error from Namibia, and South Africa capitalize. They turn it over, unfortunately, there for Kyla Landsberg. She lost the ball. Laken Brissett gets it, sets up Layla Davids, who has her name on the score sheet. South Africa 3-0. And just when Namibia were gaining momentum, the Namibians have seen that their sail cut, and South Africa take a 3-0 lead. Although this could be the olive leaf that they need, completely unforced. Tegan Fourie isolated, and it hits her foot, and it is now a penalty corner for the Namibians.
Of course, indeed, this is the third penalty corner that Namibia gets, and of course, let's see if they are going to make use of this chance. And that is, of course, Ludwig Sunal changing it right there, waiting anxiously. And of course, that is Komek, and then
it goes Cormac this time, and Sarah Paget runs a great line. Cormac stronger there than I think it was Jamie Southgate. But it's 0 from 3. The penalty corner's not working yet for Namibia. And the communication there not working either. Ran out of cell phone signal on that occasion. No 4G. 4-3. There's a chance. Layla Davids is getting a lot of space. She's really becoming a menace in this final. She has an assist and a goal. And she's really making her mark for Spar South Africa. Well,
definitely for Tyrant there, of course, was a chance for Namibia to get ahead again. And South Africa is coming to the party. Both teams having qualified for the World Cup in Croatia that is next year, of course, here again, battling out for the Indo-Africa Cup here at the Dome in Swakopmund, South Africa 3. Oh!
Brilliant save from Petro Stoffberg and brilliant work from Gillian Amanis to clear. Tegan Free asking the question. The answer from Claire Cowan was quite a resounding no. Very clear. If you don't need to be a good lip reader to read that. But it's almost, it's just those moments in and around the circle where Namibia are seeming to just struggle a bit. Kiana Cormack shows too much of the ball and goes straight through Jess Lardent. And it will be a free hit for the South Africans. Well, they're answering the defensive questions well so far. The Namibians are struggling a little bit on that aspect of the game, the defensive side of the game. And that's why South Africa lead this game by 3-0 as we edge towards the halftime break.
Yes, Darren. And of course, South Africa has been performing very, very well here. And of course, Namibia trying to find that chance, trying to find that loophole. They keep on looking for a chance, but South Africa indeed is answering those defensive questions. Namibia gets the chance there. The ball is back with Kruger. Back to Hermanes Gillian.
There's the older Kruger sister, Jivanka, on the left-hand side. Crowd trying to rally their troops, get behind them. Laken Brissett does the work at the back. Outlet is given along the base, so they can't block there. She doesn't use it. She has a chance. And they struggle to get the shot off there. Amber Dirksen, she still got it. And chance, and Sarah Paget makes a save. And the goal is disallowed. It came off of Kruger's foot. And Sarah Paget once again answers questions superbly. It remains 3-0 here.
Of course, that was a brilliant chance from Namibia. A chance to capitalize and come back to the game. Of course, it's 3-0. And Namibia keeps on wasting those chances that they get there in front of the goal. The ball is with South Africa, Southgate. Southgate right there, captain of South Africa, giving it to her team player right there. The ball is with...
yeah, Layla Davids a little bit too physical there, so losing it. But immediately on the work of trying to get it back, and yes, she is on the ball. Finds Malika Hamza, who will show quick hands and go. And, well, I think potentially was looking for the foot there. Jerry Bartlett's unable to feed the ball and runs into the player that isn't Bartlett, that's Eggs. And it's just been a case of 1 + 1 doesn't quite equal 2 for Namibia so far today. The connection's not quite clicking. South Africans looking a little bit better, showing their pedigree and why they are the 6th-ranked team in the world and why they made it all the way to the semi-finals of the Indo Hockey World Cup in 2023.
Of course, Namibia must be frustrated as we get to the halftime notch here, and they still do not score any goal. Of course, Kruger right there. South Africa gets the ball again.
It's Hamza on the ball. She's looking for an opportunity. Does the inside pass. Layla Davids almost gets a second. Petra Stoffberg's trailing leg makes the save. I tell you what, she's made a number of good saves already in this game. Here's Higgs up the left-hand side. Chance. Sarah Paget, that's easy for her, and she makes the save. Jivanka Kruger, as time ticks down towards the end of this quarter.
I would put Jillian and Keith in the back.
Of course, with less than a minute into this game, South Africa is still leading. The question is, will Namibia come back into the game? Will they score a goal They might or might not. We wait and see what will come from this one. Brilliant attack right there from Namibia. Of course,
yeah, it's been a case of just not having an answer to the South African questions and trying to go a little bit too direct. Laken Brissett has stood up brilliantly today to the Kiana Cormac battle. And South Africa 3-0 up, and deservingly so as we head to the halftime break. Higgs unable to control that. And that will be that for the first half. Spar South Africa pretty much perfect. Namibia with it all to do. At the halftime break, it's South Africa 3, Namibia 0.
More than a retailer, we bring sports to life. From teamwear to trophies, we've got it all. Headquartered in Windhoek, find us at the Grove Mall, Vernhill, Old Breweries Craft Center, Swakopmund, Walvis Bay, Otjiwarongo, Oshikati, and Rundu. Experience the best in sports and style at OTB Sport. We're not just about sports, we're about community. Join us at OTB Sport, where passion meets purpose.
Back to the MTC Dome here in Swakopmund. What a first half it was for Spar South Africa. They were superb, front foot hockey from the start, and they got the goals to back that up. Tegan Fourie with the first goal. 2-0 was then followed after that by Jess Lardens, a rocket of a penalty corner, and then Layla Davids, who has been the biggest thorn in the opposition side, netting her own goal on a counter-attack from an unforced error. Namibia had 3 penalty corners, one cleared off the line by Lizzie Porter, the other 2 not really testing Sarah Paget. And as a result, South Africa are the team who lead here at the halftime break. 3-0. Well, the Namibian crowd is trying to bring their team back into the game as we see family, friends out there supporting. What a great celebration of indoor hockey this is. It is African indoor hockey at its finest. And it's been nothing short of brilliant so far. Well, 3-0 to South Africa. Can Namibia make a comeback? Enzo, your thoughts?
Yes, I think Namibia can, of course, make a comeback and hopefully score 3 or more goals. I think they are playing very well. They just need to find that loophole. They need to find that chance. They need to create more of those opportunities and chances, of course, to take on South Africa. And of course, South Africa keeps on defending. They keep on answering those defensive questions. And of course, the likes of Hermanus, Gillian, Bartlett, Kruger, of course, all these players are battling it out and they are putting in their all. And of course, both of these teams, they know each other very well. They've met on various occasions. And of course, Namibia being the defending champions, They need to come to this one and answer the questions.
Great crowd here at the MTC Dome, really trying to get behind their team and raise the roof. And we are back underway. Azali Philander will get us started. It's now Ludwig 50th game. Gillian Hermanus. Now the big players need to show up in a big way for Namibia in the second half, as they didn't quite in the opening half. Maybe a bit more patience, a bit more structure, a little bit less gung-ho in the go forward could all help the Namibians. It seemed a bit frenetic at times, and that caused the unforced error that ultimately led to the Layla Davids goal. Kiana Cormack, she goes, drives inside, chance. Oh, the drag back, it's Jerica Cormack, bullet, and she's got a goal! Namibia find the first goal back. Bartlett picking it up outside the circle, unmarked, running in and firing her shot, releasing just inside, and she makes it 3-1. This game is back alive. This crowd is back in voice, and we have a tantalizing 19 minutes of action remaining.
Tyron, what a magnificent, superb performance there from Namibia. Of course, straight pass, get it into the net. It was a brilliant performance from Namibia. Of course, Namibia has now gained some sense of confidence or some sense of hope for this one. Hermanus Gillian giving it back to, of course, to Ludwig. Cormack.
Yeah, I tell you what, the pullback was actually for Kiana Cormack. It was her sister that picked it up. And Jerry catches apologies there as she passes it out. But an entertaining start to this half. Probably the goal that the game needed to really make it a contest. And once again, 3-1 down. That is a score that they would trail in this exact venue in 2017. They trailed 3-1 and they came out victorious. Will they have belief? Only a couple of players that were involved in that game still playing. None for the South Africans. Petra Stopberg was so important for Namibia in that game. Her former captain, Maggie Mengo, is in the crowd here watching. And it's now South Africa's turn to just move the ball side to side. Bonola Moabi. That's a lift. Trying to find the overlapping run of Kerian Fourie. Well, South Africa managed to silence the one Cormack sister, but not quite the other, just because she has a different name on the back, Bartlett. Maybe they forgot she still has some of that Cormack blood in her. It makes it count.
Of course, Darren, I think Namibia is, of course, brilliant save there from Petra. There we go, Cormack. Namibia could have...
It was Bartlett again who was given space for a shot. Given space for a shot, she wasn't able to convert on it.
Of course, Namibia did have a chance there, and that was Bartlett could have scored a second goal for Namibia. Cormack giving it to Gillian Hermanus. Back to Sunel. Cormack.
It remains 3-1. Yeah, South Africa just guilty of lifting that ball, or rather Namibia guilty of lifting that ball and turning over the attack. South Africa in the first half, what did they do so well? Well, they countered with such a pace. They had great structure and they suffocated any attack from the Namibians, with the Namibia just bringing a bit better structure in the second half and having a free player through the middle on the pullback. That could be up and that could be a penalty corner. The umpire says no one close, plays on. Ludwig gets away with that one. She won't get away with that one as Kaylin Denbacher comes quickly. Looks for Layla Davids. Has nothing. Kiana Cormack goes for it. Bit of a collision, but not much in it. Layla Davids who set up the first goal from this sort of angle. That goes out for a long corner.
Of course, Namibia needs to be very, very careful with letting South Africa closer to their goal, because South Africa is very, very deadly. Like the Green Mamba, as my Leonard the Tyrant friend said here.
Laken Brissett up the right-hand side. Kaylin Denbakker not having an option. Azali Philander wins it. It's the foot of Laken Brissett. Jerica Bartlett plays it quickly, but overly rushing that ball, unnecessary, and it goes out, or not out, but it goes away from the attack. Jamie Southgate told that the outlet is along the back. Laken Brissett cuts inside. Here's Malika Hamza. Sunal Ludwig, 50th cap, robs her. Jamie Southgate, 95th cap, she robs back. Malika Hamza, chance, South Africa! She lays it back, Denbakker. Stolberg makes a save. Clever play there from Malika Hamza to give Denbakker the ball. Here's Bartlett, the goal scorer. She lays it back but gives it away. Denbakker goes again. Driving up the left. Lifts the ball. Free hit to the Namibians.
Absolute brilliant save from Petro. Right there, South Africa could have capitalized on that opportunity. Of course, that is Ludwig Sunel looking for Kruger. Back to Sunel. Of course, Namibia had a chance there. Getting it to the front. And then South Africa keeps on answering those defensive questions. South Africa is saying no ways. The ball is with Namibia. Kruger. What a skillful play from Kruger. Back.
Yeah, Jivanka Kruger did really well there. She ran out of space, and instead of trying to force it, she showed the patience that I was asking from the Namibians early on. Showed the patience to just break down and start building again.
Of course, for those of you that are just joining, this is the Indo-Africa Cup here at the Dome in Swakopmund. This is the final, Namibia versus South Africa. And of course, you can see the momentum has increased, the pace has increased. We are in the third quarter, and of course, South Africa is still leading in this one. The question remains, will Namibia come back? Will Namibia shock us with their performance here today at the Dome?
Yeah, well, Namibia haven't taken advantage of the momentum. Layla Davids! Petro Stofberg makes another good save. Layla Davids is having an incredible game for South Africa. And there's Dirksen driving through the middle. Plays her hockey over in America, in North Carolina. Came all the way back for this. Of course, played in the Nkosi Cup as well, where they were victorious, winning that final 2-0 as well. Good work once again. Who else but Layla Davids? And this will be a card, yes. Is there a card? It is Amber Dirksen who gets a card. She will have a 1 minute, I think it was a green card.
Of course, that gives Namibia an advantage.
Yeah, the Namibians getting the green card, so they've got to play a less for a minute. South Africa just trying to take advantage, move the ball. You feel that if South Africa land the next punch, it may be the knockout punch. It may really just be the one that puts the Namibian challenge to bed. Johnson Kruger wins it. Her sister is with her. She goes alone. She has a shot. Wow, it's deflected off the stick of Jamie Southgate, and it goes out for a long corner. They were asking, was that not a back stick? But it clearly wasn't. Long corner on this occasion. Good work there from the Namibians with the player short. Still offering an attacking threat. Here's Jivanka. She goes to Gillian Hermanis. The green card won't be much longer here. You can see Kiana Cormack waiting to go on. And she's on. Back to 5 players.
Of course, the Kruger sisters had a chance there. And of course, Namibia is still... Whoa, beautiful chance from Namibia.
Chansha, Karen Farish, she plays it back. Who else? Layla Davids. Constantly in this game, constantly making stuff happen. Jess Lardent. Why, almost a test your mate pass, but Jamie Southgate does well. Ball driven up. Kieran Fourie is open. Fires in the shot from Petro Stoffberg. Easy save. Hermanus now on the ball.
Namibia is under some serious threat here from South Africa, and of course...
the outlet is up the line, but she gives it away. Good work from Chivanka Kruger. Can she give it across? Oh. And that will bring an end to the third quarter. We'll be back with you after this advert break. South Africa 3, Namibia 1.
Meet Christine, an office snacker with a craving for treats, but a budget to stick to. Fortunately, the Synergy chatbot has her covered. With just a few taps, Christine can find the latest specials on snacks, satisfying her cravings without breaking the bank. And then there's Brian, who's out on a date with the most beautiful girl invented. But even romance can't distract Brian from his love of sports updates. Luckily, the Synergy chatbot keeps him in the loop so he can stay connected while enjoying his evening. Finally, there's Henriette, who loves to stay informed with the latest news. Unlike other boomers, Henriette knows that she...
Apologies for any technical difficulties from the venue, but we have 10 minutes that remain, and it is the South Africans who lead 3-1. Namibia pulled the goal back through Jerry Bartlett to give them some hope in that quarter, but haven't managed to press on with another, and they will have to go for it a bit more maybe in this quarter. Larden through the middle, 3, and there's a push from Hermanus. The umpires say play on, and that could be a free hit to Namibia. No, they play on again. Umpires giving equal advantage both ways that time. Ludwig, Cormac, back to Ludwig, back to Hermanus.
Of course, it is South Africa again coming, attacking, of course, trying to score another one. I don't think they are yet comfortable with the score. And of course, Namibia can come back to this one. We are less than 9 minutes into the fourth quarter of this final. The question remains, will Namibia come out and, of course, come back with this one? As Tyrant said, the teams have met on various occasions and they know each other very, very well. And the chance there for Namibia. Brilliant interception from the Namibian player. That is, of course, Ludwig Sonel.
Good work there from Tegan Fourie to mop up the work. And Gillian Hermanus just shows strength. And that's a goal for Kiala Cormac. That is made by Gillian Hermanus. There will be questions asked by the South Africans about that physical challenge. But Hermanus just showed more strength than David. Got around, pulled it inside, and Kiana Cormac pulled the goal back. And the umpires will have a discussion. Well, calling the players over, Hermanus and Lardens. Let's just have a see if we can see what the conversation is here. The goal does stand. She was saying no more pushing and shoving, no more physicality. Namibia 2, South Africa 3. 8 minutes remain. We have a grandstand finish coming your way here from the MTC Dome as Namibia continue to fight back against South Africa.
Of course, Tyron, I did mention that Namibia may come back, and of course South Africa should not get or be comfortable with the score. Brilliant performance from the Namibians. Their spectacular performance. The ball is with Sunel, looking of course for Philander.
Penalty corner awarded against Laken Brissett. She's missed the tackle. The South Africans are starting to get rattled by decision making. They need to get back focusing on their game, which they've done so well Sarah Paget talking to her defenders. Here is a chance. Kiana Cormack is on the top circle. Penalty Cormack. She was the top goal scorer at the World Cup in 2018 as a 16-year-old. Now with experience on her side, can she score the early goal? And she does! Penalty Cormack! It's 3-3. Unbelievable scenes here at the MTC Dome. From 3-0 down, they have pulled level. 3-3. This crowd is going crazy. It is African hockey at its finest, and what a great fight back this has been.
Absolutely amazing performance from Namibia. From the get-go, Tyron, I did mention Namibia may come back. Ludwig. There we go. Kruger. That is the Kruger. Brilliant save.
Cormack. Wow, I can't even hear us think anymore. The crowd has got so loud here. Cormack having two chances. Sarah Paget up to it. South Africa are under the cosh. Namibia are on top right now. The score is 3-3. Well, I tell you what, Namibia have come out all guns blazing in this final quarter, and they can be immensely proud. They brought the crowd alive. They brought themselves alive. And South Africa are now looking for their way to get back on top in this absolute thriller.
Of course, superb performance from Namibia, and they keep on coming. What a pass! The ball is with Kruger, looking for Hermanus Gillian.
That strikes the foot of Cormack. Can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to find the overlap on the left, and then the pull back to the top circle. And South Africa are being pulled and stretched a little bit. Important to get the likes of Tegan and Kerrion and Lake and Brisson involved there in the middle of the park. Namibia are fired up. South Africa settling in now and trying to calm things down.
Of course, the crowd here is going crazy, chanting for Namibia. Brilliant block from Hermanus Gillian. Of course, the ball is back with Hermanus Gillian looking to take it to the front, and that is Cormack. Cormack gives it.
Kruger wide open. Well, South Africa for the first time are leaving gaps in the defense, and they need to stop that as quickly as possible. Lake and Brissett back onto the park. It's an incredible game of indoor hockey here. And it is 3-3 South Africa, Namibia. What a thriller this has been. We've still got 4 minutes, and I can't tell you who wins this game from here. Johnson. Turnover. Azali Philander. Kiana Cormack. Brilliant work from Lake and Brissett. She wins it and causes another fight back. So now Ludwig makes the tackle. Free hit to Namibia.
Of course, the score is neck to neck. We cannot make out who will take or who will be the champions of this one. Cormack looking for Hermanus Gillian. Back to Cormack. Looking to the goal to Van.
Yeah, Azali Philander a little bit fortunate to get away with that. She stepped onto the stick of Southgate, but the ball comes out. Sarah Paget makes a save into the foot of Hamza, and it's another penalty corner for the Namibians. Again, South Africa just tripping over their own feet a little bit.
I think Namibia put up really a superb challenge to the South Africans coming back from nil. And of course it is 3-3 here at the Indo-Africa Cup final. This is Namibia versus South Africa. Let's see what comes from this one.
Here's the injection. It's going to go to top corner. It's Jerica Bartlett. The Bulls just started to roll, and they will let her reset. At the top, Juliana Hermanus. Kiana Cormack. Will there be a slip? It's not. It's Cormack. It's Paget. She answers the question superbly. But it's back to Cormack. Namibia still looking for an opportunity, looking for an avenue, trying to drive inside. Cormack, Ludwig, back to Cormack, just waiting, searching, hoping, angling for a chance, a ball, a opportunity to find some space. Philander, Ludwig, back up the line, great ball to Juliana Hermanus, very well marshaled by Kerrion Fourie. Poor ball there. And Namibia give it away. South Africa will now have the chance on the halfway line to build again.
Of course, we are in the fourth quarter of this final here at the Dome in Swakopmund. This is the Indo-Africa Cup. Namibia gets a chance.
No, that was unfortunately a push there from Kiana Cormac. You just saw her hand come off her stick slightly. Anytime you do that, you make an umpire's decision a bit easier. As South Africa now driving inside. Layla Davids, what a game she's had for South Africa. Tegan Fourie, 71st international goal for her. Lardant, Laken Brissett, Fourie showing some patience. I'll tell you what, when you go 3-0 up and you find the score trick back, it knocks your confidence a bit. But South Africa has settled the game since the equaliser. And they've settled the crowd a little bit here while they hold possession.
I think South Africa got very comfortable with the score, and then they kept on making those loopholes in their defense.
Chance! Oh, what incredible work that was from Gillian Morris. Here goes Kiana Cormac. It's Azali Falanda. It's not a goal. It's not a goal. It's not a goal, ladies and gents. There was a lift as the ball was passed across. No goal. It remains 3-3. Well, some people in the crowd not sure yet. We will fix the score strap. It's still 3-3. And South Africa now, they're the ones going for the fourth. I tell you what, in the noise here, you would have thought that was a goal. But it's not. 90 seconds remain. It is 3-3.
Of course, that was a brilliant performance from Namibia, and everyone here at the Dome thought it was indeed a goal. Of course, that would have caused South Africa serious trouble. And of course, with less than 2 minutes into the game, I wonder how they would have came back from that one.
All right, and so let's get ready to take you through this last. What a save from Petro Stoffberg. It almost looked like Layla Davids would score. Brilliant work from Layla Davids to win that ball. And Jess Lardens is there. South Africa still looking for a winner. Then Bakker runs down the side, but she just went through the stick, obstructing. Here's Cormac. Brings it across to Hermanus. Her intervention, world class, to stop a Den Bakker tap-in. Just about a minute to go. Jerica Bartlett unable to get it. It's less than a minute to go. It's about 30 seconds. Will there be a winner in real time here? Are we going to a shootout, ladies and gentlemen?
Tyron, it was indeed a magnificent game here between Namibia and South Africa.
And it is an incredible game of hockey that we have witnessed. South Africa tore into the lead. They went 3-0 up. It's Namibia who fought back and made it a 3-3. This game will have a winner. It will be decided, but not in normal time. It's coming down to a shootout.
Of course, stay with us. Do not go anywhere. We will be right back.
This is what it has come to, the moment that defines a season. It's the finale, and I want it all. I want Pep and Klopp racing for the top, and Osimhen masking up. I want the biggest stars shining on Champions League nights. I want the passion of Serie A. I want La Liga. I want the Premier League. I want the football finals. I want it all. Reconnect to catch every match live on DSTV.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures.
Of course, we are back, and of course, it is Namibia 3, South Africa 3. And this means that there will be a shootout between these two teams. Let's see what comes from this one. Of course, Namibia brought the superb performance. Of course, coming back from 0-3, and of course, coming back to 3-3. This is, of course, Namibia 3, South Africa 3, and this is the Indo-Africa Cup final here at the Dome in Swakopmund. Both teams have secured a place in Croatia for the Indo World Cup. Unbelievable for Namibia to put up such a serious and beautiful performance from the Namibians. The crowd, of course, is chanting. The crowd is chanting. Beautiful scene here at the Dome in Swakopmund. It is going to be a shootout from both teams. Of course, you could see the crowd, of course, chanting, and South Africa is taking the first one. That is Dan Bakker taking the first one for South Africa.
Well, in a repeat of 2017, South Africa had led 3-1 there. It went to a shootout. It's gone to a shootout again. 3 players each taking a one-on-one. 6 seconds is what you've got. You've got to score. Ball's got to cross the line before the time's up. You can have more than one shot, Enzo. If the keeper saves, it comes back to you. You can have another shot. Of course, as long as you've got enough time. Of course, there are also the opportunities for the umpires to re-award, to give a stroke, and all of those things will be considered. 3 players for South Africa, 3 for Namibia. And that is what is standing between you and the title as the best team in Africa.
The question remains, who is taking the cup for Africa?
Well, we've got about 20 seconds until the penalty shootout starts, the showdown starts. AJ Spearingshooks talking to his team. It's Tegan Fourie, Malika Hamza, and Kaylan Mbaka. Yes, Denbaka. She takes on Stoffberg. She shows, she flicks it, saved. Will there be enough time? There won't. And Stoffberg lands the first punch. 0-0 it remains. It's Gillian Amanis, who is better known for her defensive interventions. Here she goes, taking on Charlie Swanepoel, and she fires into the net. Namibia lead by a goal to 0. 1-0 to Namibia. Tegan Fourie, the South African Player of the Year for 2023. She takes on Stoffberg, shows, turns, and scores with class. It's 1-1. She made that look easy, but the nerves of the clock would have been on her side there. Well, it's 1-1. Advantage Namibia, and chance for Azali Philander to put this game into a lead for Namibia with 1 round left. You can feel the tension in the crowd. Everybody on the edge of their seats. Azali Philander, she goes in, goes for the early shot. Charlize Swanepoel saves it. She goes almost for the exact same technique as Gillian Amanis. And the time is up. It goes 1-1. And although we're not in the sudden death rounds, it is now sudden death as Malika Hamza is the next to take on Petro Stoffberg. It is 1-1 in the shootout. Can Malika Hamza land a killer punch here for South Africa? She shows, she shoots, and it's wide. They speak about moments in your sporting careers. There are moments that are made for heroes, and this is a moment for Kiana Cormack, who had an isolation from the Namibian team, to mark her return as a hero, as a victor, and as a champion of Africa. Kiana Cormack taking on Charlie Swanapoel. She goes wide, it's saved. She has to score from the shot, and it's saved. And my word, ladies and gents, it continues here. It is 1-1 after 3, and we go down to sudden death. Pick a winner, they say. Well, I'm not sure who it will be. Will we be off in time for the men to play at 5? These two teams cannot be separated. Of course, it's a chance for the keepers to be heroes too. And of course, the order changes now. Now Namibia go first. Their chance to land the punch, make the pressure, and force South Africa to respond. Juliana Manis shows at an angle. She's fired wide. And the opportunity is there for South Africa's Player of the Year from 2023. She was their top goal scorer at the Indoor Hockey World Cup. She's got 71 goals in 71 games. She scored in the shootout already. Can Tegan Fourie make South Africa champions of Africa? They will confer, and it's done. And goal has gone over on the second. Tegan Fourie has done it for South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, SPAR South Africa are your champions of the Indoor Africa Cup. Congratulations to them. Commiserations to Namibia. What a fight back. And wow, these two teams are going to do the continent proud. I'm going to head down and do some chats. I'm going to leave you with Enzo as he takes you through this moment.
Of course, it was a brilliant performance from Namibia there, but unfortunately, only one winner, only one team, of course, gets to take this one home. So unfortunate for Namibia. Of course, congratulations to South Africa. Let's go through a few of the highlights here. That was South Africa. That, of course, increased the momentum as from the very, very first minute they got on to the pitch. Of course, South Africa strikes there, gets the goal into the goal post behind there. We still had South Africa attacking and, of course, leading with 3 goals to some point where, of course, Namibia did not have any hope. Of course, South Africa got a penalty there. South Africa takes it and then strikes and hits a goal. That was South Africa's second goal. There we go. Of course, South Africa was definitely giving Namibia some trouble as the attacks kept on coming and going. That was a brilliant save there from Elizabeth Porter. That could have been the first goal for Namibia. Cormack gives it to Philander. Philander missed it. Was quite on target. There we go. Namibia gets a chance. Namibia gets a chance, and then of course it was a foul where Bonolo got a green ticket and went out for a minute. South Africa still creating those chances and of course leading 3-0 right there. Of course those were the South African reserve players. Namibia still trying to get a goal. And then of course that was halftime and South Africa was leading Namibia 0, South Africa 3. Of course this is the Indoor Cup. Africa Cup finals, and then Namibia gets their first goal after halftime. That was Bartlett, of course, securing that one. And South Africa still kept on coming. What a blocker, of course, from Petro. Of course, Bartlett there. It was Gillian Hermanes getting the ball to the front. Namibia gets the second goal. Of course, what a pass from Gillian Hermanes. Penalty shoot there, and then Namibia scores. Of course, at this point, it was indeed 3-3. And Namibia kept on attacking and bringing those chances. And of course, there was no opportunities. Comac, of course, that goal was disregarded because there was a lift right there. The game got to the penalty shootouts, of course. South Africa. Brilliant take from Hermanes Gillian. And then there we have South Africa. Brilliant goal. Brilliant technique and move from South Africa. Of course, Philander gets blocked by South Africa. Hamza misses that one. Comac misses a chance for Namibia. Gillian Hermanes gets a chance and then misses that one as well. Of course, this was the moment of truth. This was the moment South Africa took the chance and then scored a goal. And it is indeed a full-time on penalty. South Africa 2, Namibia 1. Brilliant performance from both teams. Of course, this is the Indo-Africa Cup here at the Dome in Swakopmund. Stay with us. We will bring you the men's final that will be Namibia versus South Africa. My name is Enzo Amwele. I will see you at the next broadcast. Thank you so much.